Welcome to Daily Development, your guide to unlocking your true potential. In this channel, we delve into the fascinating world of human behavior, wealth creation, and personal development. If you enjoy this type of content, consider subscribing. In today's video, we will share with you 11 things you don't realize you're doing because you have low self-esteem. Low self-esteem changes how you think, what you do, and how successful you are. If subconsciously you don't think you're worthy, you could be doing a few things you don't even realize because of this. Ready to find out if you're sabotaging yourself? 1. Struggle to make eye contact. Low self-esteem impacts the way you behave and interact with others. This includes your ability to make eye contact during conversations. You might feel like you're less than the person you're talking to, fear they'll judge you, or think you're not worth attention or respect. Of course, pinpointing why you struggle to make eye contact isn't that simple. You could be feeling these things subconsciously, but confident people feel equal in conversations. So, if you don't, the vulnerability needed to keep eye contact can feel too intimidating. Avoiding eye contact can also be a protective mechanism. It might be an unconscious attempt to shield yourself from a negative evaluation or rejection. If you have low self-esteem, you might think that making eye contact will lead to a connection, allowing the other person to see your flaws. 2. Be overly sensitive to other people's opinions of you. You don't want people to see your imperfections because you put an excessive amount of weight on what other people think of you. And you probably think that once they see a flaw, they'll think less of you. This all stems from the core belief that you're not worthy, and that your worth is determined by other people. Low self-esteem makes you see yourself through a critical lens, so you assume others do too. This can make you hyper-alert to any feedback. Even when it's neutral, you probably interpret it negatively. 3. Avoid new things. This avoidance usually stems from a fear of failure and the belief that you won't be successful. Your low self-esteem can create doubt in your abilities and skills. You might think you're not good enough to take on new things. Subconsciously, you also think mistakes are a reflection of your worth. That's why you stay in your comfort zone and avoid anything that could risk your image. But what you don't realize is that you're limiting your experiences and opportunities for growth. 4. Overthink what you said in conversations. If you always overthink your interactions, especially what you've said in conversations, you've got your low self-esteem to thank for it. This typically happens due to a subconscious fear of being judged negatively by others. You might constantly question your worth and value, worrying that you aren't interesting, intelligent, or likable enough. You could also dwell on interactions, scrutinizing every word and gesture, worrying that you might have said something wrong or embarrassing. 5. Think and talk negatively about yourself in general. Negative self-talk is a manifestation of internalized beliefs about your lack of worth or value. People with low self-esteem do this all the time. You view yourself through a distorted lens, focusing on what you see as flaws and mistakes. It's as if you're confirming your own negative beliefs before anyone else can. This habit of thinking and talking negatively about yourself can keep you from having good experiences and relationships. When you constantly undersell your achievements or think you were just lucky that one time, you don't go out and achieve all the great things you can. Negative self-talk also affects mental health, and when you're not in a good place mentally, it's harder to form and maintain relationships. 6. Stick with people who mistreat you. At the heart of this issue, you believe you are unworthy. So, whenever someone tells you they were the best you'd ever find, or that you was lucky they chose you, don't believe them. You might rationalize staying in toxic relationships with thoughts that you cannot find better friends, deserve shitty treatment, or fear being alone. Low self-worth coupled with a lack of confidence makes it hard for you to form healthy relationships. So you quickly get stuck in a cycle of accepting toxicity. You could even believe that you have the power to change or fix the other person. So you keep holding on to the hope that the situation will improve if you just try enough. 7. Say sorry a lot, even when you didn't do anything wrong. Low self-esteem often creates a desire to be liked and accepted by others. And to do this, you avoid conflict, disagreeing with people, and excessively say sorry, even when you're not wrong. You might see yourself as an inconvenience, believing that apologizing allows you to smooth over any mistakes before they escalate into conflict or judgment. That time you said sorry for being 30 seconds late, or the time you apologized for a restaurant you picked not having someone's favorite drink that you didn't even know about. Low self-esteem makes you see even the slightest change in tone or behavior as a sign of disapproval that you need to immediately rectify with an apology. And while the intention behind this behavior is often to avoid upsetting someone, it can subconsciously feed the belief that you're a problem. 8. Have a hard time speaking up for yourself. If you don't value yourself, you probably don't value your opinions either. You may also believe your thoughts, needs, and feelings are less important or valid than those of others. This can make it really hard for you to speak up. You probably think people will judge you, reject you, or simply not care about what you have to say. Your low self-esteem makes you anticipate a negative outcome, essentially silencing you. Speaking up for yourself could upset people who usually walk over you, and upsetting someone is something you don't want to do. 9. Have a hard time saying no to people. Saying no to people creates the possibility that they won't like you. You see, when people don't get their way, it can make them feel all sorts of things. And when they're the manipulative or controlling type, this is usually anger. Your low self-esteem is exactly what these kind of people look for, though. Because you're afraid of rejection and want to be liked and approved of, you avoid anything that could make people feel negatively towards you. You don't want to be labeled unkind, unhelpful, or selfish. But the thing is, setting boundaries and saying no doesn't make you any of this. 10. Have a hard time making decisions. Another tricky thing to do when you have low self-esteem is making simple choices. I'm not talking about the super hard, life-changing ones here. Low self-esteem makes you doubt your own judgment and abilities. So, you probably believe you're not able to make good decisions. And yes, even minor choices can cause anxiety and stress. The fear of making the wrong choice can be paralyzing. This leads to procrastination and, in the worst cases, avoiding decision-making altogether. If you do end up making a decision, you second-guess it. You probably even spend an excessive amount of time looking for reassurance from other people. 11. Compare yourself to others. Constantly comparing ourselves to others is the #1 sign that we're insecure. It's okay to look at someone else and wish you had what they had, or try to change your appearance after their style. Using other people as motivation to glow up can be great, but talking or thinking negatively about yourself due to things you lack that others have isn't. Low self-esteem can turn comparing yourself with others into an unhealthy habit and even an obsession with someone you admire. If you're constantly looking at other people's lives instead of working on your own, you have low self-esteem. What you need to remember, though, is that people tend to show us their best, whether it's about achievements, appearances, or life circumstances. When you look past that, you'll see that everyone has things they struggle with or wish were more perfect. You need to own who you are and only live the life you best can. Remember, low self-esteem comes from trauma.